Hi, I'm Coach Michael BURT. To get a free copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, text 678-506-7543. Text to get a copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, and I'm going to turn you into a legendary creature. All right, you guys that are out there watching us today, we got participants that have signed up, so we don't want to slow down. Good to see you. My name is Coach Michael BURT, and I've got two good friends here today that we're going to talk about something I'm really excited about as it relates to scaling, as it relates to digital transformation and what that means, and how this is more important than ever. So I've got Judge Graham. You're in Dallas. Let's see, you're in Dallas, Texas, right?
I am.
Matt Manero is in Dallas, Texas, and you guys are how far apart from each other?
We live 5 minutes from each other. It's amazing.
Nice. Well, I happen to be out at our lodge today. You know, we got this 8,000 square foot lodge, and it is since we can't work at different places, I've kind of moved about different places and properties and.
It looks like you're in space, Coach.
Yeah, that's. I had on my mind this morning. You know, I was thinking this morning about doing something real big. So the space thing is we're selling to planet Earth. Actually, the funny thing is when Matt Manero and I were in Riviera Maya, Mexico, where we first met many years ago at a 10X conference, I was talking about Nashville and Murfreesboro and all these things. And Grant Cardone looked at me and said, "Man, I need you to quit talking like that." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "You need to talk like this. Your market is planet Earth. That's what your market is. You need to quit talking about Nashville. You need to quit talking about Murfreesboro." He was like, "Hell, I don't even know where Murfreesboro is." You need to start talking about bigger ways. And that was a very important conversation because I came home and I opened up online academies. We started live streaming around the world. It opened me up to an international market. Like it was a conversation I needed to hear. And that's really the thing I appreciate most about you two is I think your business experiences, that what you've actually done, and I think you give people a good, honest dose of what they need to hear. And maybe they may not always like it, but they need to hear it. They may not like the way you deliver it, or maybe they do like the way you deliver it, but they need to hear it. So we're speaking to people out there today who are watching this, who are going to ask this question. Judge Graham, give people a little bit of background on exactly what your expertise is and what you've done. And then I'll come back to Matt and let him talk about that and see how you guys have come together on big projects lately.
Sure, Coach. So serial business owner, entrepreneur. Matt likes the word business owner better than entrepreneur, but I intertwine them. Have failed, always have had my own businesses. I failed my first business, Coach, completely failed it. Bankruptcy. I actually grew too fast, right? I got ahead of that business and I couldn't manage my overhead and it was project based.
Wow.
So I never created a business ever again that didn't have this concept of recurring revenue, right? Revenue that has predictability, that I can forecast out 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, how to manage and scale my organization against cash. I went on to grow a fairly large independent digital marketing agency, flip that for a sizable 8-figure exit, rolled it into a bigger entity, and 18 months later took that entity with about 1,200 employees, 14 offices, and then did another very sizable 9-figure exit. So all in digital media marketing, but all those businesses quickly scaled, right? I mean, from zero revenue to 5 years to having a substantial 8-figure exit to then rolling to a bigger entity in 18 months, exiting that for a sizable 9-figure expertise. What's been great about that, Coach, is all of the clients that I worked with could have been somebody from a Jiffy Lube to a Lululemon to a Jimmy John's restaurant. So I got a really good flavor, no pun intended, for business, right? How do you create brands, marketing, sales, and revenue? Because that's what I was selling to all these categories and clients. And therefore wanted to take that expertise of really, how do you scale quickly, right? What is the formula for scale with quickly, with the ability to create what I call enterprise value that puts you in a vehicle where you have an asset that you can actually sell. Most business owners get caught up when Matt and I talk about the hamster wheel, and they're building a lifestyle business, which could be great. But dude, if you want a real cash event, you need an exit.
Yeah. And most people don't go into it thinking that. I know I didn't. I mean, I went and got out of one career into another career, started making more money than I'd ever made in my life. Didn't think at all the first couple of years. One of my people, it may have been my buddy, Matt Manero, maybe, I don't remember, said, you're going to wake up one day and absolutely hate what you've built. And back in those days, I was like, I would never hate this. And then I woke up one day and had 1,000 clients, and people texted me at 4 o'clock in the morning and Saturday night at 10 p.m. and Sunday morning. And I said, I hate what I have built, you know, and it was mainly because I didn't think about this concept. So Matt, tell the people that are watching, because I want them to really see this, and then I'll come back and get into some key questions for you. Tell them a little bit about your career journey. If you guys follow me at all, you know Matt and I have done events together, retreats together, one-day events together. It's always been a great thing. Matt has always come to Tennessee and spent time with my Monster Nation, and it's always been valuable. And so I'm really glad in 2012 when we met in that gymnasium in Riviera Maya and become good friends. It was a good thing. So tell them a little bit about your journey.
What a great memory that is, Coach. And if you remember, I had listened to Zebras and Cheetahs on the plane ride down. So I had just taken in that content from you too when I saw you in the gym. Look, I'm a 25-year business veteran, started a company literally from nothing, with a folding table and a folding chair and a phone and a yellow pages, and cold called my way into a client base. Last year we did 150 million bucks. We finance over the road big rigs, heavy industrial equipment, very blue collar customer base. You know, I've learned it through the school of hard knocks, which Judge and I like to say isn't much of a school at all. I mean, some people wear the school of hard knocks as like a trophy or a medal, and we don't think it needs to be that way. I wasted a decade of just being so bullheaded and so insecure, not looking for help and not reaching up. I did reach down quite a bit. Certainly got a bunch of bad, crappy advice from people that I thought were mentors, and really they just hadn't achieved anything. And so they became the people I surrounded myself with. What a mistake that was. But the company has achieved, some real success. And Judge and I came in contact with each other a couple years ago through our friends Hank and Steve. Judge has a great book called Scale with Speed, had worked with Hank and Steve, and they said, "Oh, you guys got to meet." So we did a podcast together, and then about a year went by. We didn't think much of it, and then we spoke at a same event in Dallas, and we said, "Man, you got some good stuff there." And he's like, "You got some good stuff." I said, "We should get together for a cigar." He says, "I love cigars." So we got together with a cigar, I guess about a year ago now. And I brought my deck, which I called the Torch, and Judge brought his Scale with Speed deck, and we overlaid the two. And we were just blown away by the similarities at the way we looked at building real businesses and fundamentally, tactically building a business that matters. And we created a concept called Attack and Conquer Boot Camps, which we've now morphed into Burn the Ships, which is an online academy of weekly mentorship, and also our boot camps. And it's been a tremendous success. And, I always thought I moved pretty quick until I met Judge. I mean, Judge pushes and gets stuff done in a way that is very unusual. It doesn't happen too often where someone can push a team the way Judge pushes a team and still not piss people off, right? I could push a team and piss everybody off, push them all away. Judge has an amazing skill set of bringing people together to get stuff done fast. And I've learned a lot from him, but I think the structured program that we teach for owners and entrepreneurs is something that just doesn't exist. We're both very, very proud of it. Corona has gotten in the way of our last boot camp. We had to cancel it and move it to May, and we hope that we can pull the May boot camp off in Dallas. But it's been an incredible journey, both on the business side for me and now also on the teaching side. And the reason that today's topic matters is because I built my business with one strategy. All we did was cold call, right? I mean, I have this saying that I love to say called making money, not making money, making money, not making money, making money, not making money, right? And we built a real business around the gritty, cold calling, pure cold into marketplaces. And then I began to say, there's got to be additional enhancements. And of course, we went into the social side and lost our ass on social ads and all that sort of stuff. And Judge began to craft the digital strategy of, you know, listen, what do you think the customer journey looks like right now, Matt? And the journey is they're going to your digital presence, your web presence, your Google result, and what do they see? And Coach, you and I are both big fans of the book, The Challenger Sale, written by Matt Dixon. And in that book, Matt Dixon says that somewhere around 60-some-odd% of people, before they ever return your phone call to engage with you, check you out. So what do they see? And if they don't like what they see, they don't return your phone call. So my guys are pounding the phones, pounding the phones, pounding the phones. Everyone's going to the website. They don't like what they see. And look at this vicious cycle that I created, right? You just work harder, make more calls, make more calls. And Judge has added the nuance of a better digital presence. And we have seen our online leads go through the roof to the point where now we're hiring people not to cold call, but just to answer the leads that are coming in from our revised digital presence. So we thought, you know, we teach this a lot in Burn the Shift. We thought, with you were gracious enough to help us with your audience, let's teach people how to transform their digital strategy today.
Yeah, because I would tell you that I'm from the school of you. You know, each salesperson in my company makes 80 calls a day. I've very much done it the hard way, mainly because I really didn't understand. It seemed very complicated to me from a digital standpoint, right? You get different counsel from different people. You know, I've gone down the path of social, but not really knowing how to do it correctly. And you spend money and you don't get any return. You don't really know what you're doing. So then you kind of say, well, what works? But let's talk about digital assets and digital transformation. What is that? Judge, when I ask that question for the people out there, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to watch this and go, man, I'm the Matt Manero. I make the calls. I bang on the phone. I do that. And I've always for years said, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to do this, right? Like Judge, what does that mean when you say digital assets, digital transformation? What are you saying?
So let's frame up this concept of digital transformation is much bigger than, hey, we need to do paid ads on Google and social. All right, I'm gonna read you a definition that Matt and I have crafted of what digital transformation is, okay? Digital transformation is the implementation of niche positioning, technology, digital direct response media, and analytics to reinvent how your company engages, acquires, grows, and retains more customers at scale. Okay. So take COVID right now. I mean, so many things have transformed digitally. And let's take a restaurant, for example. If you're a local restaurant and right now you can't order food or go in, you have to order it online or pick it up to go. The first thing they should have done is update their website. Here's the menus. Here's how it works. Here's how we're keeping it safe. Here are the specials. Sign in for our weekly email newsletter. Here are testimonials of people saying the food's still great. It's hot. It's a great experience, etc. The people that did that pivoted, won in this COVID economy. And so that's just a microcosm of a bigger thing. The reason people fail in digital is they look at it very one tactic. Your digital is your positioning. It's how you present yourself to the market. It's what Matt and I call credibility assets. Were you in Yahoo Finance? Do you have videos? Do you have customer assets and testimonials that talk about why your product and service is the best? Okay. The other piece of this concept is if you're just going out with a digital ad and saying, I'm great, buy. Can you imagine, Coach, if somebody walked up to you in the supermarket, you never met him ever before, okay, a guy like me comes in with this big ass crazy hat, and I just hit you in the grocery store next to the Fuji apples. And I said, Coach, I'm Judge Graham. I sell coaching. Buy now. You'd be like, get the fuck out of my face, right? Digital is the same thing. And we go into it with this concept of, I'm going to create an ad and I'm going to say buy now, and people are going to buy. You have to build trust, authority, and it has to be very strategic, right? They get introduced to you. They get validation from you. They start to see other people validating you, right? Then you start to slowly bring in messaging. They go look at the website. The website matches everything that they've seen with the ads, right? It's a very strategic way of looking at it and focusing on the customer, right? 67%, this is a real stat, Forrester, 67% of due diligence is done online before they ever make a decision. So everybody watching this right now, imagine if you had 67% increase in opportunities of prospects to buy your product and service. That is what digital transformation is. Digital transformation is getting that 67% to check the box and validate that you're the authority, you have the credibility, you have the assets, you've personalized the experience for them, they understand what you have, you've identified their pain, and they believe you can fix it. That, my friend, is digital transformation.
So there's a lot more to this than because you guys are really running a version of a coaching company right now, right? But you don't have a whole bullpen of salespeople. You're not making 3,000 calls a day. You're filling up your boot camps, but you're really doing it through digital assets. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's multi-pronged. Listen, I mean, digital's not going to solve everything. Matt and I believe every tactic, excuse me, if you want to win at the highest level, dude, you got to be shooting a sniper gun, a shotgun, all of it. But yeah, core to our philosophy and strategy is digital at the core.
All right.
So sorry to interrupt. The one thing that really jumped out at me when Judge laid out what real digital transformation looks like is how it enhances the salesperson's process.
Yes.
Most people that Judge and I coach, and I would probably say a lot of people that you coach, salespeople approach the client engagement in a very unclear methodology. Whereas if you can transform your digital presence, that helps not only the customer journey, but your sales team's journey. Coach Burt, you happen to be in front of your computer right now? Great. Would you go to this domain name? Awesome. You see, right here, we built a calculator that helps justify why having a coach at X number of dollars could easily enhance by 43%. And the tech lives right there. So now sales is, Mr. Burt, I know may not be the right time for you. Let me go ahead and give you our ebook or our
white paper.
And Judge and I we call white papers. We've consulted with a company called Verity Jet. They've gone from nothing to 250 million in jet sales in the last year and a half, all because they have a credibility asset that positions them as the expert in small to medium-sized jets, and they answer all of your questions in the language that someone who can afford that jet can understand very quickly in their white paper. That whole process of moving the sales training and sales call and customer and sales journey really resonated with me. And almost nobody does that in their sales organization. It's here's some leads, good luck to you. By the way, here's some PDFs, go ahead and email them out. Do it right. It's the structured process of digital transformation that can actually transform your sales force, which makes hiring easier, managing easier, expectations easier, results easier, capturing of data. So if the salesperson leaves, you still own the data and they don't take it away with that, yellow pad where they had all their notes on it and all that sort of stuff. It's all of it coming together. It is very little about hitting record and posting stuff on your Facebook page that 1/10 of your audience can even see because of the Facebook algorithm. It's a much bigger opportunity to transform.
Yeah, and I like that. So let's talk about the problems with most the ways people do that. I already seen several problems. One problem, right? The sales team is not married with the digital assets. Number two, the digital assets, you look at people's websites and it doesn't position you in a niche right out of the gate, right? It doesn't attack the niche. It doesn't have the white papers. It doesn't have the credibility indicators you talk about. But most people don't know what they don't know. They come along, they hire a website person, right? The website person doesn't understand the strategy. They create a website. They probably were sold that the website's going to increase. I know I've been sold this a number of times, that this new website I'm building is going to drastically, Judge, you're going to love this, drastically increase your e-commerce.
Right.
And I would say, well, if my salesperson runs their card through the e-commerce, then yeah, you could say it's increasing, but the salesperson is still collecting the data and just running it through the website. That's not increasing my e-commerce. Increasing my e-commerce is they go there and they buy one of the 150 products that I built. That's increasing my e-commerce. But so let's talk about the mistakes that most people make as they go down this digital, because everything you're saying, anybody who's got any kind of sense at all is going to go, look, these two guys know what they're doing. They've run successful companies. They built successful companies. What is the mistakes that most people make that they need to be thinking about shifting gears? You know, my buddy Hotze, Dr. Hotze over in Houston, says you need to do a 180 in your health. He's basically saying you're headed down the wrong way on the health highway. Well, what I'm hearing from you guys and what I see is a lot of people are headed down the wrong highway, and they need to do a 180 with their digital. So talk about the mistakes that people are making.
Yeah, I think the most common mistakes, Coach, is you know you need to have digital, and you go hire a website company or a company that understands Facebook ads. Digital transformation, that's two tactics of a broader thing, right? Digital transformation is this whole ideology and philosophy of who you're becoming as a business, what niche you become in, and how it gets positioned to deliver it digitally. Okay. So a web design company can't help you navigate that. Okay. And the other problem is it takes, you know, Matt's created a company that I've given him some counsel on called RP1. RP1results.com literally does what we're talking about in 48 hours. The other mistake people make is if you pick a partner, most website redesigns take months, right? They never get the stakeholders together. They require you to give the copy. It becomes a subjective thing. I like blue, I like red. No data informs anything. There's no customer personas. There's no understanding of what is the reason we're building this? What's the goal? What's the KPI? What's the metrics? And it takes months, and the team gets fatigued, and ultimately you just get a reskin of a shitty website you already had that looks a little bit more relevant, right? The idea is you have to compress time and build a transactional revenue digital asset quickly using those things: positioning, credibility assets, copy, what's the user experience, what are we measuring, what's success. So you need to seek a partner that understands that it's a revenue, it's an asset, not a liability. And most people go into it that they hire, they view it as just a liability that they're going to make money on, the company that they hire, and they're not looking at it as an asset for the client. And you've really got to look and say, what am I transforming digitally? How do my customers experience with my invoices? How do they experience when they submit the form? What does that look like? Do they have a link to book me on my calendar? What's that calendar response look like? It's a whole thing to not only acquire, grow, and retain customers, but it changes everything.
Yeah,
Coach, you have to believe the initial data point that whether it's like Dixon says, I think Dixon says 57%, and Judge's research through Forrester says 67%. So let's use Judge's 67% of customers are doing their own research on your digital presence before they return your phone call. You have to believe that data point before even going down this rabbit hole. Because if you believe that, then just think of the opportunity cost that's being missed for the cost of a well-done digital transformation. And digital transformation is not as expensive as people think if it's done right. And through RP1, I guess you could still spend $250,000 or maybe even $50,000 or hell, maybe even $25,000 if you go someplace else, and you probably won't get digital transformation. You'll just get what Judge has a new skin. I'm interested in maximizing the efficiency of everything we do. And if I have a data point that says 67% of the bucket has a hole in it, I got to fill that bucket. And then I get this tremendous upside and I get it fast. So why don't I want the result fast too? That's why we did it in 2 days. And I know people think it's crazy, but we are digitally transforming companies in 48 hours from soup to new site launched.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about that, because that's RP1. That's a new company, right? And for all the people that are out there listening to this, that are watching on Facebook, for the participants in the group today, you know, they're probably saying, I'm not getting the e-commerce, the mileage out of my digital assets. I have been through that game, Judge and Matt, that you guys mentioned, of taking an old site and putting new skin on it and giving it a new color and saying, here you go. Right. And it's almost always oversold to me what it actually did. It almost never produced the money. Then you get into it and they say, oh yeah, well, we'll do that, but that's not part of the original agreement. And that's going to be another 2,000 or 4,000 or 7,000, or, you know, then we'll update it and keep it up for this amount of money. Then it becomes this never ending pit of typically months of stress and tax on your staff. I know that the president of my company has been working on the redesign of our website for months, and she's pissed off at everybody, me, them, you know, because she's spending her time every day trying to put a website together, and, you know, getting assets and this picture and that picture, and, you know, it's something that's got to be done, but it's not a high use of her time. She needs to be running the company and wants to be running the company. So let's talk about this RP1, because it sounds very different and unique. There are going to be some people that say, tell me how you can do that, right? Because there's so much to this old way of doing it. Let's talk about RP1 and the unique value that it creates.
So, you know, it allows you to quickly, a lot of it's based on the process, right? I mean, you clearly understand what's the goal going into it. And then you do competitive analysis. Where are we looking at market share? Where do we create opportunity? And you help bring the client into, here's where we think the blue ocean is. Here's the niche we think you can own. And are you committed to that, right? It starts there. Because once you get that clarity, coach, then building the website and building the content around it becomes very clear. The issue most business owners have is they don't have clarity on what they should be doing, whether they're just starting or they thought they're at scale, they've gotten diversified, they've gotten less focused. And what happens is now you're trying to do everything to everybody, and the website just ends up being shit, right? There's no clarity. And when you compete against somebody that has that clarity, you're never going to win. When that 67% hits your site and they go, oh, he does what I want, but he also does 12 other things. They go to the next Google listing, and if that Google listing does that one thing, they get that call. So that's a big part of it. And no one's doing that, right? I mean, bringing the clarity to the business model. And then once you do that, it's a formula, right? Matt and his team have figured out this formula of, okay, you need this many pages. This is how we're going to capture leads. This is the story we're going to tell the consumer. Here are the assets that we have to build credibility. And that's all you need. You don't need 35 pages. You need 6. Right. And you need them to be super concise, well-written, and effective to drive the response that you want, which is either a sale or a qualified lead.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So that's really what RP1 does. And explain, our RP1 is the rocket fuel, right? That explain the name and explain what it does.
Yeah, that's why we picked the name RP1. RP1 is the most combustible fuel on the planet. It is literally rocket fuel. It is the fuel that is used to propel rockets into space. And so we call the agency, we call the company RP1, Business Rocket Fuel. And our primary product offering is the 48-hour digital transformation. There are so many other things that go into it. For example, through the transformation, we don't want you to tell us how good you are. We force testimonials and reviews. Well, we ask the client that question, what do you have? I don't have much. No. That's a problem in itself. We begin to uncover the actual fundamental problems of how the business is run, positioned, managed, hired, resulted, because if you're not getting reviews, if you can't call 5 customers and say, we're going to be at your office on Tuesday with a video crew or even my cell phone, and I'm just going to record your experience, we have a real problem in your business, buddy, right? You have to be getting reviews. You have to be getting third-party testimonials. You have to be getting press to be written up in your local magazine because you're doing something unique. Well, you don't get that opportunity unless you're the best. What Judge calls the 800-pound gorilla within your niche. You dominate that inch wide, mile deep. It's like, for example, everyone says I'm a realtor. But we've heard this 1,000 times. Dude, you know what I want to do business with? I want to do business with the #1 realtor in Franklin, Tennessee, who handled Alan Jackson's house.
Right.
That's the one I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a realtor in Tennessee. I'm looking for the best realtor in Franklin, Tennessee, who knows how to work with somebody with my credit score and my down payment and and the rocker's wishes.
Yep.
So tell me that story. And Judge and I promise you that there is enough market share to be as big as you want to be in a niche like that. Because by the way, you knock that out in Franklin, you can knock it out in Chattanooga, and you can knock it out in Memphis. That same niche domination. It's just like what we've done in the transportation space. We are not all things to all people. We finance equipment in 4 industries. That's it.
Yep. Well,
so
I think
it's a wonderful thing.
Well,
for people.
I wrote down while you were talking. There's a know-how to this, and that's a piece that people are missing. It's not just putting a website together that you feed them the content, right? There's a know-how. There's a know-how to doing this, and I think that's really the value. There's 2 or 3 big values I see that RP1 brings to the equation. One, the know-how, and the know-how of how to put the digital assets together and tell the story, how to force you to create the niche. 2, the time. If you can do it in 48 hours versus 4 months, and it'd be miserable. That's a huge win. Okay. And 3, I would just say the structure that you use based on doing this multiple times, right? Like, you know how to do it. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are going to be interested in this. And I would just tell you, for the people that watch, if you want to do a strategy session, if you're interested in doing a strategy session about transforming your digital assets in 48 hours, then I just want you to email coach@coachburt.com, because what we'd like to do is just schedule a strategy session with you. So to just talk about how it works, right? Do that strategy session. So let me say it again, coach@coachburt.com. If you're interested in transforming your digital assets on what these 2 guys are saying, they got the know-how, they got the structure, they know how to do it, they've done it before. And this company, right, Matt, has been around for a pretty good while. It's not like a startup. It's not a new company. It's been in business for a while, been doing this. You saw it, saw the opportunity, got involved with it, got Judge involved, and now it's really something that you think could be really, really big.
Yeah, I mean, Judge is very limited involved in it at the present time. We hope down the road that maybe there's a deeper involvement, but Judge is just working really as my friend, helping me with it. But the reality is, the company's been in business 10 years. They were doing what they called one-day web builds, and there were some misfires. And I went in and said, we can't do a one-day web build properly. We can do a 48-hour digital transformation properly. So let's get really clear on what we can really do 100% of the time. And that's where we did the name change and all that sort of stuff. So it's really a tremendous experience. But Coach, I would go so far as to say that, and I think a lot of people know this, but they're just, for some reason, either they don't know who to turn to get it done, or they've just done it and they've been burned. This isn't a nice to have. Yeah. This is a requirement, because you have to understand the consumer behavior is changing so rapidly. No one is buying from you unless they see reviews and video testimonials and niche positioning, and that your service is exactly what they're looking for. It's like seeing an ad for Zappos, and it's this pair of shoes that you want, and you click it and it takes you to the Zappos homepage. I'm done. I didn't want to go to the Zappos homepage. I wanted to go to the Zappos landing page for the shoes that I was looking for so I can select my size and check out. I was ready, and you didn't give me that experience, and I'm going someplace else.
Well,
Think about that, just not just thinking in jets and jewelry and cars.
coaching,
And service. What'd you say, Judge?
coaching.
Coaching calls, whatever. The consumer is so viciously smart right now, and they are in control, and you better adjust your business to get dialed into that ideal customer.
Yeah, let me add one thing, Coach. So for the people out there that are currently spending money in media and haven't done this, you're just throwing money away, right? Because you listen, I come from the digital world. There's two things have to happen. The one thing that all you care about is called a conversion rate. How do I improve my conversion rate on sales or leads? And there's only two ways. You optimize the media, or you optimize the asset that the media is driven to, which is a website or a landing page. Those two things have to be constantly tested and optimized in order to improve your ability to get more sales and leads. The other thing RP1 does is after it builds the asset, it provides you with an acquisition strategy, digital media, ongoing growth, customer and retention. So it does the activation piece. But until you have that, you're wasting money. You're going, Facebook doesn't work. No. Facebook works. Your asset freaking sucks, right? That's the issue potentially, right? I mean, think about how you shop on Amazon. When I go to Amazon, if it doesn't have a 4-star review, multiple customers on there, I can't get Prime, and I don't see multiple product pictures, I don't see it in the color that I want, in the picture of it, I'm not buying it. It's the same thing. You have to optimize both in order to win in this world.
I love it. I love it.
There's one last product that we're starting to offer at RP1, and you're going to get a kick out of this. I got such a big smile on my face over this one. But we're going to launch a product in which we go in and mine a client's acres of diamonds, their existing customer base. We're going to extract their database of all the people that they've done business with and come in contact with over the years. We call them acres of diamonds. And we're going to deploy our mining strategy to bring them back to your organization and get market share. Because as we all know, it's 80% easier to do business with a repeat customer than it is a new customer. And nobody does the mining of acres of diamonds well. Just think about it. When was the last time you bought something? And Coach, I know you bought some expensive stuff. And you bought something and someone actually came back around over and over and over. They kept you in the loop. I mean, it's not a hypothetical question. Like, I can't remember it.
It never happens. And it doesn't matter how expensive it is. It never happens. I agree with you. You know, you think about, as you were saying that, I was thinking about the 41,000 people that Hotze's seen in Houston. I was thinking about the thousands of customers that I have seen or go into my database or purchased a book or been in our coaching programs that you're right. Rehashing or doing that, you know, is an incredibly valuable thing, because that all of that money that's left on the table because of not optimizing, right? Not optimizing the deal. So if you guys are out there watching that, we'd love to do a strategy session with you. Like if you'll just email coach@coachburt.com and say, I want to do a digital assets strategy call and to talk about your digital assets. We'd love to hook up with you. You know, I think about the niche, and I'll kind of close with this. I talked to Judge the other day, and really, both of you guys have been good friends and mentors to me. I've done it, I feel like, the hard way. I've willed my company to where it is through hard work and 80-hour work weeks and speaking and doing, you know, speaking engagements all over the world. and I go home at night thinking there's got to be a better way, man. There's got to be a better way. This has been good. I got the battle scars. I've produced millions of dollars, but at the end of the day, it's nothing in comparison to what I could be doing. And I think that's the key missing structure. You have to come to that point in your life. And just through one conversation with Judge the other day, I walked out of there and said, yeah, man, that's what I need to be doing. It's clear. Like, it's something that was inside of me. It just had to be extracted from me and had to be thought through with some good questions. So there's a deep value of know-how. There's a deep value of experience that accelerates this curve in your life. And if you're a business owner out there, I really want to, most of you have digital assets that suck. Let's just call it what it is. A lot of the people that I coach have digital assets that suck. They just don't know what to do. They don't have the know-how. And at an economical price and in a very short period, boom, you got that part up and going. You can sleep at night knowing that it's working for you. So, gents, thank you for joining me today. Always appreciate my time with you. You got the know-how, you got the expertise, and you got the product and services that can really help people. So if you're interested in doing a strategy session on this, coach@coachburt.com. We'll get you to the right people. We'll let you do that strategy session and see if it's something that works for you. So you guys have a great day. I've got to do another webinar. It's only my 487th webinar I've done in the last couple of weeks.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining.
Thanks, guys. See you. Bye, Coach.
Hi, I'm Coach Michael Burt, and the #1 book that I've written over the last couple of years that could help you during these unusual times is a book I wrote called Inside the Mind of a Monster. Now, I want to give you that book. All you have to do is text 678-506-7543. Because when you text that in, I'm going to give you a copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster. And it's going to show you the habits and mindsets of top producers and how they attack every single day versus play defense. Don't you want to play offense? Get this book. I'm giving it to you, and I'm telling you, I'm going to turn you into a legendary creature.